This is RHC Reviews.
Welcome to another episode of RHC Reviews. As always, I am the one, the only Revolution Hell Cowboy. And today, got another awesome figure review for you today, plus Q&A and channel shout out. And before I get into the review and all that, I got something new behind me if you haven't noticed. I've got the majority of my figure collection here. I mean, not every figure is on display because I also have some of my roommate stuff on here, but yeah, I got this actually on Sunday from one of my neighbors who was giving this away for free. I'll explain a little bit more because I'm going to have a little bit of a bonus for you guys because didn't get a lot of questions this week for the Q&A, so it's going to be a short Q&A segment, but hopefully, the review will be good for you guys. So I will show this at the end of the video, along with, Q&A and the channel shout-out. But now, it's review time. No, in fact, it's Morphin time. Go Megaforce. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't have the right morpher. I just use my phone. But their morphers are phones anyway. They're old school phones. They're not these. But anyways, got actually a Power Rangers review for once, not a wrestling review. I apologize to those of you guys who like wrestling. And then, of course, I do Ninja Turtle reviews too, but I figured, why not, Power Rangers is going on right now. So Power Rangers Super Megaforce, we're coming towards the end of that season. And even though I'm not as happy with the series right now, I still thought, hey, why not? I still like Power Rangers, especially the Megazord, so let's do a Power Rangers review. And yes, this will relate to the review. So get ready for an awesome review, and let the, as Zordon always says, sorry I screwed that up, let the power protect you. Yeah. Alright, it is review time. And this right here is the legendary Megazord from Power Rangers Super Megaforce. Or, if you want to get technical, it's really Gosei, which is the mecha, they didn't call it Megazord, for the team in Japan or the series in Japan that this was adapted from, which please forgive me if I butcher it. Kaizu Sentai Gokaiger, from Super Sentai, which was the 35th season and a tribute season to all of Super Sentai, just like Megaforce and Super Megaforce are the tribute seasons to Power Rangers. But yeah, obviously this is the American version, not the Japanese version, because there's no die cast of any kind, just cheap plastic, and and because obviously at Saban, well, not just Saban, I mean Bandai hasn't probably made a good, decent Megazord since probably back during the early days of the Saban era with Power Rangers, before Disney took over. I don't know. Prior to 2010, I wasn't even collecting Power Rangers stuff again after Power Rangers in Space. But that's a story for another time. Let's get into the review of this Megazord. So I'm going to zoom in on it. There's all the Zords on the side. Of course, as usual, since I don't know when they started doing this. I know I've seen it since 2010, or at least since 08 or so, since they've been starting the whole concept of displaying the Megazord in the package as it is, and then you just take it apart and then do it all over again, put it back as Megazord, and so on and so forth. I remember back in the days when I was a kid, you didn't even have that bubble option, and once you put up the Megazord out of the box, technically it was already in its separate Zord forms. So yeah, very different. Okay, so I'm gonna pull the box over here, get a better look at the Megazord. I'm gonna, sorry if I messed my camcorder up, I'm gonna tilt the camcorder up a little. Get a good look down at all the Zords. There's the Red Ranger from this season. It says Legendary Megazord. And of course, Bandai logo for ages 4 and up. And then Choking Hazard. Because there is a few small parts. And then up here, I'm going to zoom out. Or no, I'm already zoomed out. Okay. there, of course, is the key that's the theme of the season, because that's what happened in Gokaiger. They used the keys of different Ranger forms to, access powers of the past, which was for all the previous seasons of Sentai. And unfortunately, Saban's been lazy, and yeah, while we have gotten some of the Mighty Morphin, Zeo, Turbo, all the different season pioneers, we've also got some of the I keep wanting to say Gokaiger, because I just got Gokaiger on mine, but all the different Sentai seasons that we never had here in the US. But whatever, that's a rant for our day. Take a look at the side of the box. I know you can't probably see this because of the way my camcorder is tilted, but there's a picture of the key, how it transforms. I apologize for this. I tilt the box. But I can do this for you guys. There's a little bit of info about the card game that's been out for the last year or so. All different cards that have been included with the Megaforce toys. You be able to play a card game, and also there's a key. Download the free app. The back of the box just shows the Megazord with all the Zords that can go into the Megazord, how it transforms, and then how you do it with the key. And then there's all different sorts of Zord transformations. Like, got the Red Dragon Mystic Zord. Please forgive me if I said the name wrong. SPD Racer. The Red Zeo Racer. Oh, by the fact that it was supposed to be the Red Zeo Battle Zord, but that's what they decided to come up with. And the Lion Zord from Wild Force. And then various motorcycles for some that's probably never going to be seen in the show. In fact, of all these, I don't think we've seen the Mystic Dragon yet, or at least I can't remember. I know we've seen the Lion, we've seen the SPD, and I don't know if we've seen the Zeo Racer. God, this series has been pretty unforgettable so far. And it's a Zord builder, collect them all, and then all the different keys. Alright, so I'm done reviewing the box. Now let's get into the review of the legendary Megazord. Now here we got the main 5 Zords in their vehicle modes before they transport back into the Megazord. And they're pretty simple. Nothing much to them. We've got first the main Zord, the main form of transport, the Super Mega Ship, which is a pirate ship. And Gokaiger, it made sense because they were space pirates. So of course, it was their main form of transport. From where they were from originally to Earth and all over the universe. In Super Megaforce, it makes no sense whatsoever because they are just ordinary teenagers. And it's not even referenced that they're pirates. It's their Super Mega modes. I mean, heck, they still morph into their Megaforce suits or the old Gosei suits before they morph to the Gokaiger suits or the Super Mega mode. So, whatever. Saban doesn't want to acknowledge pirates in the Power Rangers universe. I can understand with the Gosei thing, Megaforce, they didn't want to acknowledge angels, but whatever, that's a rant for another day. So, getting into the other Zords, we got the Super Mega Jet, Super Mega Sub, we have the Super Mega Racer, and the Super Mega Wheeler. Yeah, that one I don't like the name of, the Wheeler. Yeah, it has wheels. I mean, is there a vehicle called the Wheeler? I don't know, I'm just being stupid. I would have referenced to the fact that it's a construction Zord or something, I don't know. But anyways, not much to the Zords. All of them have wheels on them, so they do roll around. Even the ship. Actually, the ship doesn't roll as well, I guess, as the other Zords does. Take a better look at the ship. Oh, of course, that's the reason why, and this has to do with when it becomes the Megazord. And the mast fell off, which that will form the 2 swords. I'm going to put it back on real quick, if I can. Sometimes I can't get stuff right. Alright. So like I said, they all roll around pretty well. And you'll notice they all have little combiner kind of things on the side. Well, this is the fist for the Megazord, but they have little combiner pieces. I mean, this is for when it combines to the Megazord. Right here, actually, sorry. That has more to do with the different Zords you can buy, which I showed you on the back of the box, like the Wild Force Lion, the Mystic Force Dragon, the SPD Racer, and the Zeo Racer that exists only now. And all the Zords have it, so yeah, you have that, combined ability. But normally you don't need these out, just only except when you're gonna add different Zords to, to this Megazord to make the Megazord more super. So now that I got that out of the way, let's get into the transformation from the main 5 Zords into the legendary Megazord. First, we'll start with the legs. And as you can see, I was kind of doing it off camera. We'll start with the pink sub. Kind of looks like it has a mouth in a way. Open up. But anyways, fold that out. Make sure I get it right. The Yellow Ranger's pretty simple. Just do that. And then with the Red Ranger, well, the mask just fell off. The mask, of course, becomes 2 swords. We're going to split this open and it reveals the head. And then, well, that's just really about it. It's pretty simple. Now that we have the legs in place, we're going to get ready to put the arms on. First, I'm going to fold this piece in. Do this. Like so. Hopefully I didn't screw it up. Yeah, I got it right. I had to check the box. I haven't done this in a while. Here is the Super Mega Jet. We'll take the helmet off. Save that for last. Fold the wings in. And this arm goes right here. And then the Super Mega Racer, just roll the wheels down like so. And snaps right in place. And finally the helmet, you just fold these flaps up, snap it in there. I hope it snaps in right. It looks like it's secured. And there we go. We got the legendary Megazord, or once again in the Super Sentai of Gokaiger, it's Gokaiyo. And it's more like a pirate than a legendary Megazord. I mean, come on, Saban. Pirates aren't that bad. Remember Pirates of the Caribbean? You had the good pirates and the bad pirates. I mean, nothing wrong with just saying it's a Buccaneer, it's a Buccaneer Megazord or something. Now, before it goes into battle, got the 2 swords, which were from the mast. Here's the pegs that kept them put together. And the way it's done, this one goes in its left arm, right, excuse me. It just looks like left from the way I'm looking. If I can. And this one goes in the right. For this one you gotta pull out the fist. And there you go. The legendary Megazord is now ready for battle. And also, as I had mentioned before, there's the key, which on the back of the Megazord does relate to whenever you have different Zords. Right now it's not going to mean a whole lot because I don't have the other Zords like the Mystic Lion or the Wild Force Lion or the Mystic Dragon or the 2 Racers because, well, I usually go to Walmart and Walmart does not carry much of the Super Megaforce toys other than the standard 5-inch figures, few of maybe the 6 or 7-inch figures, and then of course, a few of the Megazords, mostly just the ones they ever seem to have. But anyways, we're going to put the key in there. Of course, here's the Ranger key itself. It's just a slightly articulated Power Ranger key with just articulation in the arms. No head movement. And then the legs, you pop them up, and there you go. It reveals a key. And I know there are multiple keys that are sold. I don't know if I've seen any at Walmart, but I know Toys R Us would have them. You put it right here in the back, turn it, and there you go. Look at that. Got like a special compartment for when you have your different Zords. And then just turn it again and do that. The only other season to do this was Turbo, at least here in the US. I don't know about all the different Japanese seasons. So it's kind of a cool concept that brings me back to the days of Turbo back about, 17 years ago. And If you don't want to use your key, you want to kind of keep it in storage, you can open this up anyway, even when you're not turning it. It just, you know, goes like that. Put the key in its chest, and that's a good way to keep the key, you know, from, you know, losing it somewhere or throwing it in storage. So there you go. And there you have the legendary Megazord. Not much to it. I wish I had the other Zords to go with it. But there is something you can do with other Megazords that have been out since whenever it is they started the Zord Builder concept, and I'll show you guys that here in just a moment. Before I get into the little thing I'm going to show you, the mix and matching, you know, Zord Builder, you know, swapping out parts concept, what you can do with at least mostly the recent Megazords. I know since the 2010 you know, the 2010 rebroadcast of my Morphin, they've had this new concept with the, you know, swapping out of parts with the peg connectors. I've seen people do it with the Samurai and the Mighty Morphin Megazords, and I've done it myself, and you know, hey, I might bring those out for comparison too, for the heck of it, in a moment. You know, you can see they take up a lot of space, so maybe I have to do it one at a time. But anyways, you can see in size comparison they're about the same. I mean, the you know, legendary Megazord is a little bit taller than the Megazord from the previous season of Megaforce. You know, the Gosei Great Megazord. A little bit bulkier though in front because of the dragon, and then also has the wings, so the wings kind of stick out more than the pirates kind of shoulder pads that are going on here. And then you look at the back. Alright, so now let's get to something that's pretty cool. Hopefully I can do this. I tried it earlier and didn't want to work for me. We're going to start pulling off the arms. Hopefully I can. I'll have to move the wings up a little bit. Maybe they'll kind of get in the way. But anyways, yeah, here's the peg connectors. They should be about the same, so you should be able to do it. These ones have a screw sticking out though, so that's a little different. Pair of these, so I guess they're a little different this season. But anyways, this hopefully should work. I've done it before with the Samurai Megazord with the Gosei Great. I'm sorry I didn't show that in comparison. You know, I'll have to review my Samurai Megazord one of these days. But let's see if we can get this to work. Alright, snapped it in. Hopefully it doesn't be a pain in the butt to snap out. Alright. Look at that. It looks odd, but you know, like I said, you can swap parts on the Megazords. So, in case it were to happen in the series, I doubt it would, because of all the Sentai footage and stuff. They look kind of odd now. And not to mention, you could also do it with the legs, too. You know, same concept. And with the, you know, Megaforce last season, this was supposed to be one piece, but, you know, it's one Zord, but also you can snap it apart. We'll see who's taller now after this. I have a feeling that the Gosei Great Megazord is going to be taller, you know, once it, you know, it has the parts from the legendary Megazord. Oh, definitely. Oh, shit. Oh, sorry if I almost cursed. And I accidentally broke a piece off. That's the downside of these. The pegs are sometimes a little tricky to mess with, but when you get them in, it's like, whoa! Oh, shoot. Gosei Great just got tall while... Forgive me for bringing up wrestling if you're not a wrestling fan. I know maybe a few of my wrestling subscribers are watching. Here is, you know, Hornswoggle, and he could be like, well, I guess he's probably not tall enough to be Great Khali, but we'll just say that's what it reminds me of. It's all stubby. And obviously you can't do it to where you have like half of the legendary Megazord and half of the Gosei Great, because apparently it's not going to look right. I'll demonstrate why. You can already see why. Oh, you have to be careful you don't break the connectors. This will be why. But he could be a pirate. He's got a peg leg. Arrgh. Ah, he doesn't even want to stand now. See? Doesn't even work. Ah. So yeah, let's finish taking these back apart. So that's how you can do. It'll look goofy. It looks better with the legendary Megazords on the Gosei Great Megazord, but the Gosei Great parts on the legendary Megazord, it looks good with the arms, but the legs, not so much. So that's one idea of what you can do, and I'm gonna finish transforming them back, and then, you know, maybe here in a moment I might grab out some of the other Megazords and maybe give you a few more comparisons. Especially, hey, gotta have a Mighty Morphin comparison, so I'm gonna at least put the parts back on Legendary Megazord, and then I'll put back, you know, Gosei Great off camera and go grab one of my other Megazords. So, just hang tight, I'll be right back. Now, here is the Legendary Megazord in comparison to the Samurai Megazord from a couple of seasons ago with Samurai and Super Samurai. And wow, if you thought the Legendary Megazord was taller than Gosei Great, look who's taller here. The Samurai Megazord is huge, so obviously if I were to put, you know, Gosei Great back in the picture, even though there's not much space, definitely, you know, it would tower over Gosei Great. So now, like before, we're gonna, you know, swap parts again for the hell of it. And, yeah, I apologize I haven't reviewed this. I'll have to review it one of these days. And here's the sword, by the way. It's warped. I don't know why. That kind of sucks. I wish this was the Japanese version. The Japanese version, I know, will at least be more of a die-cast metal. But anyways, let's start part swapping. As you can see, it's the same color scheme, but, you know, red, yellow, pink, blue, green, same with Samurai. So, gonna pull the arms off. And it's kind of opposite how, you know, the pink and yellow are the legs, and the blue and the green are the arms. And, you know, blue and green are the legs here, and then pink and yellow are the arms there. So, we're gonna do a little bit of a part swap. So right now we got a lot of pink and yellow in this Megazord. And why not? Let's see what it looks like, you know, when you got everything switched around. And though blue and green are opposite sides than the other one. So for now, you got a lot more blue and green on one Megazord and pink and yellow on the other. But that's only until you swap the legs. I apologize for those of you who probably are not kind of getting tired of this. I'm doing this for fun. If you're just around for the Q&A, you can feel free to skip forward, I guess. But if you're a Power Rangers fan and like seeing good reviews, at least reviews where I'm having fun, then, you know, stick around, you know, I appreciate it, because, you know, I gotta compare this to Mighty Morphin next. And so far, this is looking a little awkward. So it doesn't matter what you swap with the, Legendary Megazord, it's gonna still end up looking short anyway. I mean, it already became shorter than the Gosei Great Megazord when I put the Gosei Great parts on it, but dang. This Megazord, the Samurai Megazord, is still pretty tall. Here it is with the legs, and it's like, well, yeah. They made their Megazords the way they did for a reason, but other than that, I don't know. It looks like the Legendary Megazord pieces always look better on the other Megazords than the other Megazord pieces look on the Legendaries. So, I'm about to get out the Mighty Morphin Megazord from 2010 for comparison, and hopefully the part swapping will look better. So, I'm going to do this off camera, put the parts back on the proper Megazords, and I'll be back. Finally, the moment of truth. We're going to have a comparison and part swapping with the Legendary Megazord of Super Megaforce, and the Megazord that started all, at least here in the US. I'm not going to go into Sentai, because obviously, you know, while this was the first Power Rangers season, it wasn't the first Sentai season. But anyways, the original Megazord from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Technically, you know, it's the 2010 re-release, and then there's also the Legacy one with the die-cast metal, but I don't have that one. Because one, it's kind of expensive, and two, you know, it's already the 2010 version. I wasn't really in the mood to get the Legacy one, even though I know the Legacy one is better. But I do want to get the Legacy Dragozord. That's a story for another day. But yeah, you can see that the original Megazord is pretty tall. I know the original one from 93 would be even taller than this one. But you can see definitely it towers over a little bit over the Legendary Megazord. And it might be a slight bit taller than the Samurai Megazord. I'll have to compare them someday. I don't really want to get all the other Megazords out here because I don't have much space. But anyways, let's part swap it. And of course, originally, before the 2010 re-release, you know, on the original Megazord, the arms were not, you know, can't be removed because obviously they're all part of the Mastodon Zord. You know, the Mastodon's the arms, and then you had the legs for the Triceratops and the Saber-tooth Tiger, and Pterodactyl was a chest shield, and then Transorce was the main body compared to, you know, the later seasons where, you know, you had the separate arms and legs. So, just a reminder of how they look. So, I'm going to take the parts off, and like I said originally, they weren't supposed to come off, you know, but because the 2010 season was a little, well, it wasn't a 2010 season, it was just a rebroadcast. was a little different with the toys, how there was all these different Zords that never existed, and different little bikes and stuff that you can combine with this Megazord that they made solely for the toys, you know. Alright. Let's see how awkward it's going to look now. Especially now we're going to have 6 Zords on one Megazord instead of just 5, while we'll have 3 on others, so... Moment of truth, let's see how this looks. Oh, it is not going to work. Well, no, it'll work. I just noticed that when I've done this before with the original Megazord, that the pegs are a little tighter. So they probably improved them after they got to the Legendary Megazord and all that. And so far, it's not looking too bad for the Legendary Megazord. It's actually looking pretty decent. It's the Legendary Mighty Morphin Megazord, which, by the way, I know in a Go Kaiger movie, they had the Legendary Megazord turn into the, you know, Mighty Morphin Megazord, or whatever they called it in Drew Ranger. I don't really know. I'm not a Sentai expert. And if I can get it in there, I am not doing it right. Fail. Alright, almost done here. Plus now this Megazord's going to finally have some pink on it. And believe it or not, for once, the Legendary Megazord is the taller Megazord. Because if you saw earlier with the Samurai Megazord how, well, okay, not taller, but it's not too much of a height difference when the parts are swapped between the two Megazords. You know how the, Legendary Megazord ends up coming out like a little person, compared to, putting its parts on the Samurai and Gosei Great Megazord. So it's not too bad, even though it doesn't look that great, so, yeah. Does look a little bit goofy, but cool in some ways. Alright guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this review. I'm sorry it probably wasn't the best review. I know I screwed up my words several times. And honestly, sometimes trying to review something that's pretty tall and get it all in the camera shot is hard sometimes. But thought I'd do something different because I've mostly done wrestling reviews, and it's been a while since my last Power Ranger review. And I probably won't do a whole lot of Power Ranger reviews just because it's hard to find good Power Ranger stuff in retail, and I'm mostly hunting down wrestling and Ninja Turtle figures as of this moment. But in the near future, you'll still see Power Ranger reviews anyway. Just not as much as you'll see, wrestling like WWE Mattel and some Jakks, and then, Ninja Turtle reviews like the new figures and some more of the vintage figures. But I'll try to give Power Ranger reviews every now and then. And I don't know if I'm going to get into Dino Charge the next season. I don't know. I'll probably give that season a try after Super Megaforce is done with. And if I like the season, I might get the Megazords for the hell of it and review them. If not, I don't know. I'll probably still just stick to reviewing the vintage stuff, from Mighty Morphin all the way through Samurai, because I've already done, Super Megaforce with the Legendary Megazord, and I already reviewed the Gosei Great Megazord before, like, sometime last year. I'll put a link down in the description along with a couple other Power Ranger figure reviews that I've done. Because I haven't done a whole lot, but I'll try to do more soon. As always, thank you for watching the review. Feel free to give me your thoughts on this Megazord. Tell me how you think it compares to the, Go Kaio if you're somebody who collects Sentai stuff. And just any other general Power Ranger thoughts, I'd like to hear them. Now stick around for the Q&A segment. Alright, it's time for the Q&A where you guys have questions, I have answers, sometimes short ones, sometimes long ones. And remember, you can ask me more than just wrestling, because most of the questions on this Q&A are wrestling related, despite the fact this is not a wrestling review. And there's no problem with that. I mean, I like wrestling, and I like Ninja Turtles and Power Rangers, and a few other things, and I'll try to explain in the near future what else I like. I'm trying to make a video for that. But anyways, got my phone with me, so now I'm going to answer these questions. And as always, you guys know the drill. Ask them here, ask them on Twitter, or ask them on Facebook. John Patel, at John Patel4 on Twitter, wants to know, he's got 3 questions. His first one, What would your wrestling name be if you were a wrestler? Well, it's funny you asked that. You think I'd go by my YouTube name, Revolution Cowboy. Obviously, long name, or Rev Cowboy. Short story, my wrestling name I like to use, and probably I'm not the only one that uses it, Sweet Tooth. It's kind of funny I came up with that name. I had a dream, I guess that's to be sometime back in 1998, back when I got into wrestling, that I was a wrestler, and I had this gimmick that was, I would say, similar to Bret the Hitman Hart, except with, I had shorter hair and all, and I don't know, there was just something to do with sweets and candy, even though it's not, it was more of a play on words or something, it's hard to explain. I'll have to show you guys in a future video who Sweet Tooth is, all my concept art, all my drawings, created wrestlers. I did a lot for my Sweet Tooth character, and originally I wanted to use Sweet Tooth back when I started being more active on the internet, and well, because other people use that name, I was like, well, I don't want to put a bunch of numbers next to it. That's why I came up with Revolution Cowboy, and if you guys want to know where I got the Revolution Cowboy name from, feel free to ask, and I'll happily tell you guys. His second question is, what is your favorite cartoon you watched as a kid? You should already know by now, it's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. If you didn't know already, that's my, and I'm not talking about, the new Ninja Turtles, because I'm an adult now. I love the original 80s series for those of you younger kids who never knew the Ninja Turtles existed before 2012. Hell, even before the 2K series, which the 2K series was good too. Originally it started with the comics, of course, back in 1984, and the comics were not intended for kids. They had to, make it all kiddie, that sell toys. That's why we got a cartoon in 1987. And I always loved the original TMNT cartoon. But it's not my only favorite cartoon. There's another one that I can kind of relate to. It's called Doug. It aired on Nickelodeon back in 1991 through 94. Then there was a Disney version of it that aired on ABC from 94 through 97, I think. It's a great show. I don't want to go too much in detail with the show, but it's about this kid who has all these adventures. He's a normal middle school kid, has friends, gets picked on stuff, has a love interest, But he has an overactive, imagination, writes in his journal. It's an awesome show. If you look up Doug, look it up, especially the Nickelodeon version. The Disney version is good too, but definitely look up the Nickelodeon version. Doug was an awesome cartoon, along with other awesome Nicktoons that aired in the 90s. So yeah, so that's your question. Ninja Turtles is definitely my favorite cartoon, and then Doug gets an honorable mention. And there's many, many more that I can't even listen to this video, man. For his third and final question, he wants to know, what are your thoughts on the recent death of former WCW/WWE wrestler Sean O'Haire, and do you have any memories of him? Well, here's the thing. It's sad that he died, but Sean O'Haire is one of those wrestlers who didn't make much of an impact in his career. He started out in WCW towards the end of the company's run, back in 2000. He was part of the Natural Born Thrillers. He first teamed up with Mark Jindrak, who currently wrestles in Mexico as Marco Corleone, and then he wrestled. He also teamed with Chuck Palumbo, and he didn't do much in WWE. They had him during the whole Alliance storyline. Yeah, he was a great wrestler in WCW. He had a couple of tag title reigns, I believe. But in WWE, they just didn't use him right during the Alliance storyline. They brought him back in 2003 to have him aligned with Roddy Piper. And he had this whole, I'm not going to tell you something you don't already know gimmick. That didn't last long. He maybe was in WWE on the main roster for maybe 3 months. And then after Piper decided to take a break, that was it. Sean O'Haire was done. It's sad, and I'm pretty sure that the way he killed himself was, similar to, say, I hate to bring this up, Benoit, because I'm pretty sure Sean O'Haire took a lot of shots to the head too, and that's the whole CTE, and it's not just pro wrestlers that have killed themselves because of it. Football players done it too, like Junior Seau killed himself, and then there's he's a famous football player if you don't know. He played for the Chargers and I think the Patriots. I can't remember. And other football players who complained about concussions that made them go crazy. So that's just my theory. A lot of wrestlers, that did die, majority of them, not all of them, either were on steroids or they took painkillers and that really messed them up. So, I'm I'm sorry to say this, I don't really care a whole lot about Sean O'Hare. I mean, my condolences go out to his friends and family, but he never really had much of a significant career for me to say, oh, it's sad that he died. I mean, if he would have done more, I would have been more sad, but, you know, it's kind of hard to rank him with great wrestlers. He was just a guy who was no more than just a mid-carder. That's it. That's really all I have to say. James Fleming here on YouTube has another question for me. It's another wrestling question. If you could bring back any wrestler from any era, who would it be and why for one more run in WWE? I don't know, man. There's probably a lot of wrestlers I can think of. For one more run in WWE, there's a few. I can't name just one because these wrestlers who just didn't last very long in WWE. Jerry Lynn is one. Before the WCW ECW buyout, and well, actually this was after ECW went out of business, and for a brief time in 2001, Jerry Lynn was on the main roster until about, I'll say, right up to the start of the Invasion angle with the WCW ECW lines. You think he would have been aligned with the group or something, but after that, I don't know what happened. He just left, and then, you know, in recent years he's been with TNA. So I don't know. He's probably one wrestler I'd probably bring back. I mean, with RVD being back in the company as of late, even though RVD's kind of now gone again, an RVD Jerry Lynn feud in WWE would have been cool, even though we've seen it in TNA, but I don't know, would have been something cool. Another wrestler that could have had a good run, Ultimo Dragon. He's somebody else that didn't last very long in WWE. He came to the company in 2003, was there for a few months, and then he was gone. Now, granted, he's probably in his 50s now, and he probably still wrestles in both Japan and Mexico, because I know he's got a dojo in Mexico City. He's one of the few Japanese wrestlers who made a name for himself there. So I don't know, he's probably another one I'd probably consider bringing back. And he could have had something going on with Rey Mysterio. You know, Rey Mysterio nowadays is not doing so well. Yeah, I'm trying to think of who else. There's not many other mid-carders I can think of that I would want to bring back, because maybe they just weren't that important. Maybe if I can think of a diva, I'd probably like to see Ashley Massaro come back. I loved her. She was awesome, and she was a great wrestler. Could have been a women's champion. Nowadays a Divas champion. So, I don't know. There are other mid-carders I can think of, but not on the top of my head. But probably those three are probably the ones I'd bring back. Well, Ashley Massaro I'd bring back because she's hot, but other than that, yeah. And could you imagine an Ultimo Dragon Jerry Lynn feud of some kind? That would be kind of epic. Be better wrestling than what WWE gives us today. Definitely, you can count on that. For my last question comes from Joseph Hatcher. He's only asked me one question. And dude, don't take it personal. I'm not saying you can't ask 3 questions every time. Just to everybody, including John Patel, you know, and all you guys, just ask 3 questions sometimes, but mostly stick to asking one sometimes, 2 another, you know, just depending on how long it takes me to answer your guys' questions. Anyways, for the last question of this video, the Q&A, Joseph wants to know, who is your favorite mid-carder from the past? Well, even though some of the mid-carders I like are now main eventers, or were main eventers, because some of them are not alive anymore, like A. Guerrero. You know, he was a mid-carder through, you know, ECW and WCW, and then early on WWE before he went a main eventer. And then Chris Jericho, same thing. Of course, Chris Jericho's still around. He just wrestled his last WWE appearance for a while at Night of Champions against Randy Orton. But I guess when you think of mid-carders who never really main evented, I'm not to say Dean Malenko. He kind of, you know, he relates to Guerrero and Jericho because he had feuds and, you know, tag teams and all that with both wrestlers. I mean, he mostly feuded with Jericho, and then he had a good match in ECW against Guerrero before both of them left for WCW, and then of course they were aligned together and as a part of the group called the Radicals in WWE, the WWF, you know, back in 2000. But Dean Malenko, he was a great wrestler. Man of 1,000 holds, he lived up to it. One of the best technical wrestlers to ever work in pro wrestling. And he was #1 in the PWI 500 back in 1997. Only downside is, he's one of the very few wrestlers to never be a world champion that was in the PWI 500. And then Rob Van Dam was until he was WWE champion in 2006. But, I mean, Dean Malenko, I mean, the best title he ever got was the U.S. title, other than a reign as a WCW tag champion, excuse me, I was about to say WWE. But he did have, I think, the light heavyweight title or the European title WWE, I can't remember. And then he also had the WCW Cruiserweight title. I mean, he was good. You know, somebody who had great matches. He was part of the Four Horsemen for a brief time, teamed with Benoit. And honestly, of the two, I like Malenko better. That's just me. And he still works with WWE today as a road agent, at least I think. I haven't seen a whole lot of him as of late, but you know, Dean Malenko, definitely a great mid-carder. And it sucks he could never get a world title run because, you know, he was close in age to a lot of the guys who were, you know, going for the world title, like Luger and Sting. I mean, heck, Goldberg got the title and he was younger than Malenko. I mean, it sucks. Guy wasn't properly utilized, but still, I think if he had the chance, he could have been a world champion. I believe it. Alright, that's my Q&A. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Sorry if you asked your questions before I started recording this video, which I usually start recording by Monday or Tuesday. I do apologize if I didn't get to your question. Just remember that you can ask them here. Put RHC Q&A in the comment section of this video or any video that mentions Q&A, and I will see your questions and put them in my next Q&A segment. And of course, you can tweet them to me on Twitter. And I'm going to be a broken record for like the millionth time. Facebook. You know you can ask your questions on Facebook. I do have a Facebook page, facebook.com/RevAlCowboy, or search for Revolution Al Cowboy when you're on Facebook. And you can ask your questions there. Give my page a like. And I do have a group, RHC Reviews on YouTube. You can search for it, or just put facebook.com/group/RHC Reviews on YouTube in your browser. And ask your questions there, because I do want to see more Facebook love. And hey, in the near future, I'm going to probably start requiring you guys to have Facebook, because who knows, hey, I might get contests for you guys. I'm getting close to 600 subs, and I want to keep it going. So someday, just someday, you know, keep your fingers crossed, I'll have a contest of some kind to show love to you guys, my awesome subscribers. Alright, I have a special bonus for you guys, since my Q&A segment was pretty short, and I'm pretty sure the review wasn't too long for you guys. So, thank you to everybody who stayed, you know, throughout the video, and you know, got to this point. Thought I'd share this little bonus with you guys. This is my new shelves I'd mentioned before that I actually got from a neighbor of mine who had some stuff she was getting rid of and asked us if we wanted this bookcase, and hey, it's free. I mean, you can't argue with free. Now, as you can see, a lot of my stuff is on the shelf, but since, you know, my roommate and I discussed that we wanted to get some shelves to put out in this hallway so I can make space in my room to put more carded figures up on the wall where my loose collection previously occupied, you know, with the shelves. And he wanted somewhere to put more of his die-cast cards, which I was cool with that, you know. I mean, if we ever want to get more shelves someday and he can put the rest of his die-cast cards somewhere, we'll do that. But for now, we're going to share this bookcase until then. So first, I'm going to get to the very top shelf. Please forgive me if you can't see it too well, but here's all my Battle Shell Ninja Turtle figures from the current Nickelodeon toy line. I kind of have to tippy-toe because of how high this bookshelf is compared to me. It's like well over 6 feet tall. You can see Donatello back there. There's Leo. There's Raph. And oh, poor Mikey. You can't see him that well. There he is. Say hi, Mikey. And right here are some old WWF monster trucks that I bought at a garage sale about several years back. They don't really work right now. And I reviewed them one time several years ago here on this channel, long before I got into reviews. So there they are. Now, of course, my main collection that I collect the most of, my WWE Mattel collection. You know, you always saw them behind me in most of my videos where I sat, you know, near my bookcase. My old white shelf. So now they're all out here in the hallway. And here's the majority of my figures. Pretty much every Mattel figure I own that's loose. I'm going to try to elevate them sooner or later, get some pieces of wood to put them on, so, you know, they'll all be inside, you know, some will be going up back here, and then just goes down, kind of like, you know, risers or stands or something, like, you know, like a stadium stands or something, you know, if you remember taking a class photo in school and they had the risers that they had tall kids stand in the back and then the short kids in front, all that. That's what I might try to do for now, but this is what I'm going to do. My figures at the current moment, and when I get more Mattel figures, hopefully I can still have room, and then if I have to put more down in the next shelf, I will. And the next shelf, of course, sticking with wrestling figures, this is the majority of my Jakks Pacific, WWF, WWE, TNA figure collection. Not every figure is out here. It's the majority of my figures. A few of my bone crunching figures are not out here because they're just kind of loose. And when I mean loose, I mean loose joints, and they don't stand up very well. So I just decided to keep them in storage for now. I only have one bone crunching figure I got recently at my local flea market, an old Mankind with a removable mask and Mr. Sacco. And then here's all my figures, including my divas that I used the Trish Stratus, and I put, you know, head swaps of Kelly, Michelle McCool, Maria, you know, Tori Wilson. You know, you can see everybody, of course. The Hulkster brother. What you gotta do, brother? Now, as I mentioned, my roommate's got some of his stuff. The only thing down here that's mine is this collector's cup I got at a WWE live event, but everything else is his. A couple of his model cars. He's got some bowling pins. He's got a camp thing he goes to. And a Kansas City Chiefs football. Down here are the rest of his die-cast cars. Not all of them. He has more that he hasn't displayed here. He has stuff displayed somewhere else. Now the last shelf, because he claimed these two shelves, and maybe in the near future, if, you know, I decide I want to move stuff around, I'll move these figures up higher. This might be my favorite collection, because, you know, it's what I started collecting when I was a kid. It's my Ninja Turtles figure collection. Hope you guys can see them all well. Here they all are. All the vintage TMNT figures I've bought so far, and there's a few that I've bought in retail, Leo and Sure. I don't know if you can see them. I'm going to try to get my cell phone camera out. Or maybe my flashlight, excuse me. Hold on just a moment, so maybe you guys can get a better look at them. Because I know it's kind of dark down here. So there you go. There's all my loose TMNT figures, old and new, mostly just up to from the vintage, you know, 80s, 90s TMNT toys to the 06 TMNT movie, but it's mostly the, you know, the vintage initial figures. Include some ones I've added recently from eBay. You've probably seen me in a pickup video recently, so yeah. And more of these will get reviewed. So far, I've only reviewed these four here, the Wacky Action Turtles, so I'll be doing more of these reviews. Some of them I need to get their accessories first, so you won't see reviews for them until then. So most you'll see ones that have their accessories as reviews. But other than that, that's it. And the only things I would like to put on the shelf that I haven't got a chance to are Power Ranger figures, or my old WCW figures. Maybe one day when we get more shelves and my roommate decides he's going to take his stuff out of these shelves, I'll put my wrestling figures that I'm not able to display, my Power Rangers, my Megazords, all that. But until then, that's my new collection shelf. Feel free to let me know what you think about it. And yeah, that's it.
It's channel shout out time, and this one goes to MrWeenieProductions. He does a lot of videos related to Power Rangers, including episode reviews and toy reviews, and he also does some gaming videos. You can check out his channel, click on the link in the description, or click on the annotation as soon as it pops up.
Alright, thank you very much for watching this video. Hope you guys enjoyed the review. Even if you're not a Power Rangers fan, I apologize. I know I don't have a lot of subs or the Power Rangers. I have a few. And then, you know, people who like Ninja Turtles and like wrestling. Most of you like wrestling, and hell, a lot of you are even trading card collectors, I mean. So you might not be watching the video regardless, but yeah, like I said in the Q&A, I want more than just wrestling questions, depending on what reviews I do next, because I will do more than wrestling reviews. Yes, the majority of my reviews will be wrestling, but as I am trying my best to hunt down more loose TMNT figures, Power Ranger figures, and many other figures I want to, you know, review in the near future, you will see more of those reviews, and I'm going to try my best in the near future to put up 2 reviews a week. Hell, even rarely I might put up 3 reviews. I mean, you guys just have to stay tuned. As always, for updates, follow me on Twitter or like my page on Facebook, and you can also join my Facebook group. So once again, thank you very much for watching. Feel free to hit the like button if you like this video, leave your comments and your questions for the next Q&A. And of course, for you guys who are new to my channel, hit that subscribe button. I'd really appreciate it. So as always, I am Revolutionary Cowboy. Rock on and keep collecting.
Thanks for watching, guys. I really hope you enjoyed this review. I will try to put up as many reviews as I can. And you want to see my previous review? Click on the video that's playing right now. And make sure to subscribe for more videos coming soon. And also like my page on Facebook and follow me on Twitter. As always, rock on and keep collecting.